Well, I haven't touched this game in a good while. The last time I really played this game was before the Tusk update. For those of you who don't know, Your Bizarre Adventure is a JoJo Roblox game that takes some RPG elements into its gameplay. It has a quick little story mode campaign, and the game encourages you to use all of the items at your disposal to complete it. Of course, we're not going to be doing any of that. Our goal is to find out if we can beat the story of Your Bizarre Adventure without any stands, fighting styles, or upgrades. You can even say, as an average Joe. Hypothetically, this should be possible, but how hard is it actually? Without further ado, let's start the run. The first quest is obviously going to be the easiest. The game expects you to be standless with no upgrades. After I beat the buggy guards, I have to deliver Koichi's briefcase. So far, so good. Unfortunately, this was just the calm before the storm. The next quest puts me up in a fight against Leaky-Eyed Luca. It's tough, but I can beat it on the first try. At this point, I remember that even though I can't buy any other weapons, I can still buy the bat. I decided to name this weapon the Horny Bat. We're going to be doing a lot of bonking with this thing. This bat is going to be your best friend during this run. It has long melee range and it does more damage than the standard punches. Unfortunately, the damage isn't as great as Pluck, but it still gets the job done. Bruno is going to be a tougher boss fight. Unlike the other enemies, Bruno is a stand user, so he has an extended melee range. Also, because we aren't a stand user, we can't see Bruno's stand, so we can't easily tell if he's blocking or not. We'll have to use split-second decisions to determine our best plan of actions through more subtle cues. In practice, I died probably a dozen times. I thought it was pretty much hopeless, and that my success relied heavily on good luck. That was partially true. I thought to myself, man, if only I could choose this boss like Diablo. There is a way. It's not as effective, but there's still a way to choose the boss. If you look at the train, there's a slight slant that acts as a climbable ledge. That makes it so that NPCs like Bruno can't easily get up while the player character can. With this knowledge, I was able to beat Bruno relatively easily, though time consuming. That would be the case if some dude didn't waltz in and kill him while I was healing. Sure, I still got the kill credit, but this dude walked in and stole my thunder. I did it again just to show that I could actually beat him standless. After I beat Bruno, I went to talk to him in town. After that, I disconnected. My internet wasn't down, so it was most likely a server issue. No big deal, I just needed to reconnect. The game failed to reconnect several times, but I didn't know what caused it. When I eventually got back in the game, I went to deliver the lighter to Giorno. Then I realized that I didn't have the lighter from Bruno. I went to get the lighter when Bruno asked me to finish the story in order. I got confused, and I feared the worst. When I went to the first Giorno, he asked me to fight the guards as if I had never played the game before. Yup, my story data got wiped. I still found it weird that I still had everything else though. I got so angry that I had to redo all my progress up to this point. The main story is about a half hour long, but without any abilities, it's such a slog. The game expects you to use the stand order that Giorno gives you at the start of the game, but I didn't use it. After a while, I finally got to the Bruno fight. I have no idea why, but it felt harder than the first time. Either that, or I was just burned out from fighting him so many times. Also, remember when I said that NPCs can't easily get up the train? Emphasis on the can't easily. Somehow, with the power of Bruno's burning resolve, he forced his way up to the train when I wasn't paying attention. Typically, the player has to grab the slant onto the train to get the extra height to walk up the train. Because of that, I had to be extra careful when healing. After that, no more technical problems happened on the run, so that's good. This has got to be hands down the worst fight to do in this run. Fugo is a tough fight on his own merits. With Purple Haze as poison clouds, Fugo is constantly damaging you. When he reaches half health, he activates Rage Mode. Rage Mode increases Purple Haze damage and defense. Also, unlike a player's Rage Mode, Fugo is practically in a constant state of Rage Mode. I had to take this into account when planning the fight. I had to first test out Fugo's attack range to figure out the places I can hide. I eventually settled on this big tree on the left. It's not the best spot it could be for two reasons. First, the tree doesn't completely evade Fugo's attack range. Luckily, it's just the large poison clouds we can't avoid. Secondly, it's a little bit tough to climb up. You do not want to use the ledge grab on this tree. Your hitbox will collide with the branches during the climbing animation, thus pushing you off. You want to walk up to this root over here, and then jump onto the center of the tree. However, if you miss, you have to wait a whole second before trying again. That may not sound like much, but remember, that split second could get you trapped in a stun lock. Standless has no super armor based moves. It has no activation super armor like the barrages, or mid-attack super armor like the barrage finishers. Its only ragdoll attack is the guard breaker, which doesn't have any kind of super armor. If you dare to try this, I recommend you go for 3 guard breakers and run up the tree. If you do any more, you risk taking heavy damage from Fugo. Also, I suggest going for only guard breakers. If you do any normal attacks, Fugo will catch you in a barrage. However, whenever he barrages, he never uses a barrage finisher. Instead, he uses a capsule punch, which is blockable but isn't perfectly blockable. Even with all of these tactics analyzed and put into action, I still died so many times. I took a break for a while because I just couldn't take it anymore. I eventually realized that I just couldn't beat Fugo as an average Joe. It's hypothetically possible to beat YBA as an average Joe, but it's next to impossible. Personally, I'd like to see your attempts at this challenge. Unfortunately, for this run, we're gonna have to get our first upgrades. I had maxed out my vitality and agility, mostly because those are the only ones that matter for this run. After several more tries, I was finally able to defeat Fugo, or I would say that if some idiot didn't walk in and finish him off. I was just so angry that I couldn't help myself. After telling him to stop, he disregarded my request, so I needed to get payback. Yup, I killed him. At least I got kill credit from that fight. I'm honestly sorry, guys. I just didn't want to fight Fugo again, so I moved on to the next fight. Alright, only 3 fights left. The Pesci fight is a funny story. I thought this might be pretty hard. There's nowhere to hide in the tunnel. As I was fighting him, believe it or not, another standless came to help me out. Unlike the other guys, he had the right idea. I don't know why, but my recording cut out near the end of the fight automatically. Thanks, NVIDIA. I still took a screenshot as proof that I did the fight though. We were able to beat Pesci on the first try, so that alleviates a ton of trouble. Woo! Woo! The next fight was going to be with Ice Bakugo himself, Gachio. Surprisingly, Gachio was a fairly easy fight. If you didn't know already, the bat's guard break attack has a bit of end lag to the animation. During that end lag, the hitbox is still active. Fortunately, that is also the time when the bat has the most forward reach. That distance is also slightly larger than Gachio's attack trigger range. Gachio's range is a little smaller than the other fights because he has an armor stand. His range corresponds with his actual body. That means we can keep Gachio stuck in an infinite loop where we can attack, but he can't. I was able to end the fight quickly, and now I could move on to the final boss. Diavolo, the final boss of Your Bizarre Adventure, is a tough boss fight, alright. He's infamous for being the hardest story boss in the game. For me, to be brutally honest, he was the easiest boss in this run to beat. For those of you who don't know, there's an easy way to cheese the boss battle. There's a ladder that leads to Diavolo's spawn point. Fortunately, NPCs aren't able to climb ladders. As a result, we can use the ladder to heal up while Diavolo can't do a thing. Sure, he can teleport to you, but that's all he can do, and the attack doesn't do much damage. I would be able to beat him first try, but some dunce had to walk in, draw his aggro, and die. I was able to get back Diavolo's aggro before he died, but I was on a tower level, just barely inside Diavolo's range. It was too risky to try and run back to the higher ladder, so I tried to fight him there. Unfortunately, he went out of his range and despawned. I decided to switch servers because I honestly did not want to deal with that guy. After that, I beat Diavolo and got the Requiem arrow. With that done, YBA is officially complete. To answer the question, can you beat YBA as an average Joe? Sure, I guess. Can you beat it as a slightly more athletic Joe? Yeah, you can beat it. God, this was painful to do. So anyways, that's it for the video. I know that not many people will watch this, and I'll probably lose even more subs. So instead, I made this with the people who still watch my videos in mind. I just want to say thank you. The few of you guys are the reason I still make videos. I know that you'll always be there for me, so you have my gratitude. I talked more about YBA since I haven't played it in so long, but that will be for another video. Until then, I'll see you guys next time.